Man, you gotta love horror as a genre. Not many other genres can you so consistently sit down to watch a movie that was directed by a first-time director in his mom's house on a budget of half of $1 million, and you're not crazy for thinking that this just might be one of the best things you see all year. Now, I'm not saying that Undertone is one of the best things that you've seen all year, but this is a movie that has a cast of two and a budget 1/1000th of the next Avengers movie, and I am very confident that I will have been as entertained by Undertone as I will be by Avengers Doomsday. So while Undertone doesn't revolutionize filmmaking, it does have a lot going for it. It's got great atmosphere, incredible sound design, and an ending that I'm going to have to check out again at some point, because Undertone is the latest release from A24, who picked it up after the Fantasia Film Festival last July. Undertone follows a young woman named Evie who is caring for her dying mother in her mother's house while co-hosting a horror podcast with a friend named Justin who lives in London. On their podcast, which I believe is called Undertone, they investigate found audio footage and comment on the authenticity of it. Between the two, Evie is the more skeptical of them. She's the one who believes everything can be explained by logic and reason, while Justin is the believer. He's the one who wants everything to be more supernatural. So we've got ourselves a real Mulder and Scully situation here. Justin has received an email that contains 10 audio recordings of a married couple named Mike and Jessa. Over the course of a few days, they listen to the recordings, which go from creepy to terrifying, and the horror on the tapes seems to start bleeding into Evie's reality. And all of this while Evie is continuing to take care of her mother, who is extremely religious, just does not sound good, and is creepy as in her own right. It's 94 minutes long. The entire movie takes place inside this house. And like I said, there are only two characters that you see on screen in the whole movie: Evie and her dying mother. There are a couple of other characters that we hear but don't see. There's a caregiver that we hear for just a brief moment, and Justin, the co-host, Evie's friend. And I don't want to give away too much more about the plot, because the fun, of course, is in discovering this stuff on your own. But needless to say, what follows is very creepy and very claustrophobic. So yeah, all of this takes place in this mother's house, who is extremely religious. So there's a ton of religious iconography all over the place. There's Jesus and angels, statues, and pictures everywhere. I think there's a cross in the background on the wall in every other shot. There's creepy children's songs. There's creepy drawings. Unlike a lot of movies that use all of this stuff, to scare you and create an atmosphere, Undertone does not seem to be trying to be messagey or lectury with any of this. It seems like Undertone, refreshingly, is primarily just trying to scare and to entertain. And because it takes place all in one location with just these two characters, the movie does rely heavily on the sound design and the atmosphere. The sound design has been a heavy part of the marketing. It's been marketed as the scariest movie you'll ever hear. And it is amazing. It does sound great. It definitely knows what it's doing to guide you to where it wants you to go. So there's really good sound design. There are a lot of long shots of Evie listening to this podcast on her headphones, sitting in her dining room table, staring at her laptop. So there are a lot of shots of, on one half of the frame is Evie sitting at the table, and the other half of the frame is just a darkened room. And I found myself searching the entire half of the frame that was in darkness, looking for clues or something that's going to pop out. And the lead actress is great. I was unfamiliar with Nina Kiri, is her name. I believe she plays Evie. The only other actress in the movie who played the mother didn't have to carry a lot of weight, but Nina Kiri was great. She and the sound design really made this movie what it was. The guy who voices Justin, he was good, but we never see him, so there's really not a whole lot that he can do to help out. So yeah, Nina Kiri, the entire cast was fantastic. Weirdly, even though it takes place all inside this one house and you only see these two people, it feels like more is going on. And again, that has to do with the sound design. It reminded me of the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds from back in 2010, I think it was, where he spends the entire movie in a coffin. And it was told so well. He's talking to other people on cell phones. I think he's having memories, but you never see another person on screen. But when the movie's over and you're thinking about it afterwards, you're remembering scenes that just could not have happened because it was just him on screen. That's what I got from this one as well. I had memories that I thought, oh yeah, when the caregiver showed up and was talking to Evie. Well, that never happened because we never even actually saw the caregiver. I mean, it's not perfect. There are some small gripes. First of all, Evie's set up for her podcast. She's a professional podcaster. And maybe this is a different setup. She is taking care of her mother, but in this movie, as her podcast goes, as she's recording it, she's sitting at a dining room table in the middle of a house, in the middle of a dining room. If you've ever recorded anything in a house with a microphone, you know that the sound sucks. So there's no way that somebody who's legitimately doing a podcast is using that as their podcast recording environment. That's a small gripe. Whatever. Other than that, the movie is atmospheric. It is very immersive. I also think that it maybe wasn't as scary as it could have been, and that could just be me. I don't scare very easily. I didn't get scared really at all during this one. There are scenes of drama and scenes of horror, of course. The drama, of course, being with, this is a young woman taking care of her dying mother. So there are scenes of grief and stress. And then the horror scenes, of course. But I didn't feel like as we were segueing, flowing from the drama scenes into the scary scenes, that we were getting really into the scary stuff as much as we could have. The sound design was really trying to get us there. The volume would go up. Things would go bump, but I didn't feel like it was quite as scary as it could have been. So it really came across for me more as a drama and somebody getting over the loss of a parent as it was a horror movie. And by the way, I guess that is appropriate because apparently this director, Ian Toussaint, I believe wrote and directed this one. It is a very personal movie. It was filmed in the house that he grew up in. And it is the house in which he took care of his dying parents. So this is according to Google, a Google search, but it does sound like this was, not an autobiographical, but, a therapeutic story for him to have told and for him to have shared with us. And I think I'm pronouncing it right, Ian Toussaint. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that name again. I saw murmurings of him being attached to the Paranormal Activity intellectual property in some capacity. We'll see if anything comes of that. So I liked Undertone. I don't know that everybody that was in the movie theater with me enjoyed it. There was a guy sitting 2 rows ahead of me. As soon as the movie ended, he goes, "Seriously? That was it?" So I don't know what his enjoyment level was. I don't know if he's going to be thinking about this one too much afterwards. I have been. I did like it. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be checking it out again at some point. Don't know if I'm going to pay to see it in the theater again. Probably wait till streaming. But the last 3 minutes of this movie, let me know what you think if you see it. So let me know what you think in general. Have you seen Undertone? Are you planning to go see it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe. See you in the next one.